Now let's look at rounding to the appropriate number of sig figs. This is another area where kids struggle a lot. Throughout the course, you're going to plug numbers into your calculator in order to solve a problem. You must be able to round the number on the calculator screen to the appropriate number of sig figs in order to report the correct answer. For example, what if you needed to round Planck's constant to 7 significant figures? You must start by looking at the 8th digit, which is a 3 in this case. Now follow the rounding rules you learned way back when in math class. 0 to 4, and you round down. 5 to 9, and you round up. In this case, the 7th sig fig would not round up, so you would report 6.626176 times 10 to the negative 34th joules seconds. To round to 5 sig figs, look at the 6th digit, a 7 in this case. This 7 causes you to round up the 5th sig fig, so the constant would be 6.6262 times 10 to the negative 34th joule seconds. To round to 3 sig figs, look at the 4th digit, a 6. You will have to round up the 3rd digit due to this 6. So the constant would be 6.63 times 10 to the negative 34th joule seconds. To round to 1 sig fig, look at the 2nd digit, a 6 again. The 6 causes you to round up the 1st sig fig, so the constant would be 7 times 10 to the negative 34th joule seconds. Time for you to try it. Pause the video and round the radius of Mars to the indicated number of sig figs. When you think you have it, start the video and check your answers. Okay, time to take the next step regarding sig figs. Let's take a look at 2 sig fig rules involving calculations. The first rule is for calculations involving multiplication or division. In these cases, the answer will have the same number of sig figs as the least precise number in the calculation. If you perform the calculation in example A on your calculator, you will get 71.25 centimeters cubed. If you reported this as your answer on a homework or test, you'd be docked points because you did not report the value with the appropriate number of sig figs. To do this correctly, start by identifying the correct number of sig figs for each number involved in the calculation. 9.50 centimeters has 3 sig figs. 0.025 centimeters has 2 sig figs. And 300 centimeters has 1 sig fig. The multiplication rule is that your answer can only be as precise as your least precise measurement. 1 sig fig in this case. Therefore, you must round 71.25 to 1 significant figure. Look at the 2nd digit, a 1 in this case, so the number doesn't round up. Therefore, the correct answer to this calculation is 70 centimeters cubed. The answer your calculator spits out for example B is 1.36 meters per second. Technically, however, this answer is incorrect. The value must be rounded to the appropriate number of sig figs. Look at each number involved in the calculation and identify the least precise value. 0.68 has 2 sig figs, and 0.5 has 1 sig fig. Therefore, your answer can have only 1 sig fig. The correct answer is 1 meter per second after rounding to 1 sig fig. Time to try examples C and D on your own. Pause the video, perform the calculations, and then round the answer to the appropriate number of sig figs. You can do this, but you have to practice. Pause the video now. When you think you have the correct answers, push play. The second sig fig rule involving calculations deals with addition and subtraction. In this case, the calculated answer can only have as many decimal places as the least precise value in the calculation. Let's get started on these examples. Here are the answers, a calculator would give you for all 4 examples. All are incorrect answers in terms of sig figs. To get the correct answer, you have to find the value in the calculation that has the least number of decimal places. In example A, this is 3.9 with only 1 decimal place. This means the correct answer can only have 1 decimal place. Look at the second decimal place, an 8 in this case, and round up to 52.9 grams to get the correct answer in terms of sig figs. For example B, 10.521 has the least number of decimal places with 3. So the appropriate answer can only have 3 decimal places. If you follow the rounding rules, the correct answer is 57.544 meters. All right, you know what's coming next. Pause the video and try examples C and D on your own. When you think you have the correct answers, push play and check it out. The last thing we need to discuss is unit conversions. In honors chemistry, we will utilize dimensional analysis, or train tracks. This is a way of setting up a calculation so that you can easily observe the cancellation of units. Let's work out an example so that you can see how it works. You are supposed to convert 55 miles to inches using the conversion table shown here. The first thing you want to do is start with the number that is given to you. And don't forget the units. Then draw a grid like this. Notice how it resembles a train track, hence the name. Now, make use of the conversion table to convert to what you are looking for. There isn't a direct conversion between miles and inches, but we can convert miles to feet and then feet to inches. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. We want to plug this conversion into our train track so that the miles cancel. In order to do that, 1 mile must go in the bottom grid on the train track, and then 5,280 feet goes in the top grid. You must perform one more conversion to get to inches. There are 12 inches in a foot. This time around we need to cancel feet. So 1 foot goes in the bottom grid while 12 inches goes in the top grid. Now you can see where the fancy name dimensional analysis comes from. By setting up your calculation this way, you can analyze how the dimensions, the units, cancel. Units in the top grid will cancel units in the bottom grid. So you can see that miles cancel here and feet cancel here. The only unit not canceled is inches, which is the unit we are trying to convert to. To complete the calculation, you multiply by all the numbers in the top grids and divide by all the numbers in the bottom grids. In this case, you would have 55 times 5,280 times 12, which gives you this value when you plug it into your calculator. Now, in order to report the correct answer, you must determine sig figs. This is a multiplication and division problem, so you are looking for the number with the least number of sig figs. However, do not forget sig fig rule number 3. Let's take a look. 55 miles has 2 sig figs. Before we go any further, remember that rule. Exact numbers have an infinite amount of sig figs. These conversion factors are exact numbers. We do not need to consider them when determining the sig figs in the answer. The correct answer must be rounded to 2 sig figs. Look at the third digit and follow the sig fig rules. The correct answer is 3,500,000 inches. Just remember, for unit conversion problems, the answer will have the same number of significant figures as the value you are asked to convert. Now it's your turn. Pause the video and try to convert 2.70 pounds to ounces. Try using dimensional analysis and don't forget to round to the appropriate number of sig figs. When you think you've got it, press play and check your work.